with the board. During with me is Secretary as yet, and Secretary Maritime. With that being said, we this and number one, and we begin our. All right. So first of all, look at all the leaders out there. Celebrating it's really helpful here anyway. But we need to get for today. So the goal show, the wider, if you know somebody who's interested within the critical, who's interested in social trends, so social trends is individuals doing construction and believe that trend and it's going to work, right? So that is very important. What we call these that opportunity. And there's a lot of other things that happen. And
our land use committee meeting this month. So one of the they should be here tonight to present. I do see David right there. One of the things that we want to present, and I want to be clear about it. DCP is with the city of New York. We'll be looking at construction, building, zoning laws across New York City. I raised two questions. One of them I want to discuss in detail because I have to. I raised the question of the certain areas, Community Board 5, Community Board 17, Community Board 9, and I believe 14 or 13, where we are having a lot of construction going on. In the other community boards, we're looking at housing extension, right? And they will start housing extension and build it up to about 2 stories onto properties that are not within those districts become more rental, right? For everyone within districts. So to put it plainly, in certain districts, there are areas that cannot be rezoned, no matter rezoned as in moving high buildings, right? So there in districts, there are areas where developers can come in because there are parts of the district they have a lot of space. So if you sell your home, they can come in and build apartment buildings. The other parts of the district where they cannot do that, right? Because they're 1-family, 2-family homes. In those districts, however, in those parts of the district, they're looking at extensions, like you could extend your house, build an extra room, make the basement more compatible for renting, and certain areas can build up. And he'll talk about it. So they create some level of concerns for people within that community, as well as some consideration of licking your chops, because now you can have renters and you can gain additional income. So when he comes up after his presentation, please feel free to answer the question. The issue that was tabled until this meeting is to whether or not to ensure that parking is included when they're building these buildings. Right now, DCP, sorry, David, just to give a, to talk about it a little bit. Right now, DCP is saying that there's no parking, and the parking will not be considered. We know that in community board 17, all the different things that are going on, parking is a commodity, especially since we're 2 years old, right? That's a major issue for things. So I will bring that to the floor on the new business with the resolution that I proposed on the floor. Different for Classic is an organization looking for, if you have young people over 18 who plays basketball and would like to continue playing basketball, joined with Sesame Flyers, who will be hosting basketball on Wednesday and Sunday at Winthrop Junior High School on Winthrop Street between 2nd and 53rd. So if you're interested and you know a young person, please contact Different Park Classics at gmail.com. Again, Different Park Classics, which is for those of you who live on the eastern side of the district, which is now Chris Vance part of the district, East 92nd Street, Avenue B. And if you don't live there and you still want to play, it doesn't matter. You come out and you sign up, and they will also have a tournament during the end of the summer. As far as I know, it was, unless something just happened. All right. I met with the new 67 Precinct Council have a new deputy inspector, Inspector Rachel Kostak. She's coming out of the 63rd Precinct. She's now the deputy inspector. She's not going to be here tonight. She had a previous training that she needs to do, but she probably should be here in June. With that being said, there was a police response shooting on East 52nd and Church Avenue. For those of you who live on that side of the district, when the PD comes up, they will talk about that shooting and what's unfolded with that shooting. What transpired between 2 gentlemen that led to the shooting and the person expired. The bylaws. Last month, there was a vote. There's a vote on whether or not you need to be a resident of the community to run for an office for one of the 5 executive officers. An email was sent to the senior legal counsel, Steve Golden, who responded that the amendment failed and that it failed because there were 12 votes in favor, 7 against, and 5 abstentions. That means a total of 24 votes, and in order for it to pass, we needed 13. That was the explanation. At the executive meeting, and question was asked to ask if before it could be reopened, whether or not the component of the amendment was legal. One of the things that the bylaw does state is that, just to be clear, that somebody from the winning side has to be the one that reopens the amendment, right? I don't remember the exact article, but it is in the bylaws for that to happen as well. But the email was sent. I did not check my email today to know if he had responded. I will double check today while I'm up here and somebody is speaking, see if that happened, to follow up. There's some issues with the budget, right? There are a number of monies that were allocated through in our March special meeting. Chairs were asked way back in January to Alex to talk about what it is that they wanted to do with their committees and what they needed. The vote was finally made at the special meeting. It was asked to move a number of times until it was accepted to move to the special meeting in March. Unfortunately, that was a little bit late in terms of OMB, March or April. So that was a little bit late in terms of the funding for OMB. Moving forward, that our chairs, whoever the chairs appointed, the appointed chairs, need to make sure that they begin the process of figuring out what they need for budgetary concerns throughout the course of the year. Again, I ask for our community to support our events that are happening, right? There is a website in case you missed the meeting, in case you don't see a flyer in the back, the events that are happening within our community. Sometimes we have to cancel these events because we don't have enough support from the community. That will bring me to April 21st with the Parks Department. The Parks and Beautification will be hosting their event. I believe it will be at Cottigan Park for us to come out and support that June 21st, right? That would happen Saturday, June 21st, come out and support what is happening. Juneteenth is a holiday. So because Juneteenth is a holiday, why that is important is because it's on a Wednesday. That happens to be the third Wednesday of the month. So as a result of that, we'll be moving our Commerce Chair, Chair Prasad, has graciously accepted to allow the June meeting to be held on June 18th. So please make a note in your calendar that June 19th will not be the meeting, it will be June 18th. And I hope everyone will go out and celebrate Juneteenth as well. Lastly, well, not last, please note there is, for those of you who are parents and have checked the calendar, whether you're a parent, grandparent, niece, and aunt, or whatever role you play, guardian, whatever the new terms are in the DOE, June 6th and June 7th and 8th, no, June 6th and 7th, there will be no school, right? So there will be a 4-day weekend for students. It's a good time. I don't know if you want to go on a holiday or a vacation, but children are not in school for that weekend. Thursday is Brooklyn Queens Day. Teachers do have to report. Friday is a clerical day, so no student needs to report to school. And so that means that you're off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you get back to school on Monday. There was one other thing that I wanted to report, but I can't remember at the moment. I can write it down. So that with that being said, questions from my report. While you're thinking about your questions, yes, Chair Thomas. Maxwell.
So, my question to you is, are you going to be extremely transparent? You say that you personally reached out to challenge that specific problem, so that basically, I don't, no protection, no self-funding, so that it could qualify for that?
I'm not sure. The question was asked, I don't know what it means for the community to be left wide open. One second. I did,
I'm not gonna speak over.
right? The question was that the executive officer needed to be a resident of the community, right? To run for an executive office. That was the amendment, which is challenging the city charter that says that one of the needs of the city charter is that anyone can, as long as they fit the criteria, or each criteria, you follow the criteria, and then each one that you fit, you can apply. The question was, can that amendment be done that you can still be on the board, but you cannot be an executive officer? That question was asked of the senior officer. And I just also want to point out a few things. And I want to be clear. There are a number of people on the board who fit the category of non-residents in the community that are on the board because they fit the standard of the New York City Charter to be on the board. So I just want to be that there is a certain amount of alienation of board members, right? So unless, let me not do that. The question was asked of the senior counsel and to move on. I don't know if there's any issue about transparency in order for me to run again, right? I don't know that that's an issue because at this juncture, I don't know whether or not I'm going to run again as chair. Second of all, it's a question of whether or not the city would then look at reappointing individuals who don't live in the district because then they have an unfair advantage about their role on the board, right? So those are the things that the city is looking at, or are looking at, the city is looking at, but I don't make arguments at the board level for me. I make arguments at the board level for the board and the people who sit on the board. So everybody knows these arguments that I pick. So I'm literally not thinking about whether or not I'm going to run. But at the end of the day, there are people on the board who do qualify, who fight for this board because of their interest in this community. And lastly, there are, please note that there are parts of the board which have different issues. There's a part of the board to the western end that has rezoning as a building issue. And that is rezoning for the park. On the eastern side of the board, you don't have that.
Please
Right,
fix
right?
the and understand.
It's not part of the district. That side of the district might have parking issues. That side of the district might have parking issues. Okay, so the district is compiled of different issues that we have different things. So let's say things, right, education and the rest of the stuff are not important. I'm not sure, but yes, the answer to this question is yes, for full transparency. Use the mic. Use the mic. I also support Chair Graham's speech. I would like to make sure that people understand Robert's rule only allows you to speak once on the issue. One. Right? And then there's a time limit, and then you can speak at the second time. So everybody gets to speak before you speak again. Is it clear? Mike, no. There's a knob at the front.
Then I'll check our message.
All right, so we're talking about the executive of the board of president. So history about member of the board, member of the day,
Neither. Right? Neither. The city charter allows you to be on the board. Period. Right? If you fit one of the five, well, you need to fit two criteria for the board. One, you need to live in New York City. And two, you need to fit one of the other five, whatever, not five, or whatever the other criteria are. So you can be on the board. Two is appointed by the chair of the board. Right? So it's only, the amendment only relates to the five people that sit up here.
and those are the
All right, Chair James.
Still two. One is my phone. Yeah. Yeah, but this one is muted.
Okay, so
I have to
as
read. This one is from my phone.
Any member of the board can run for
Yeah.
until that is made.
You want me to sign
Any
it?
member of the board can run for office.
According to
Any member. When you live in that district, or you do not, once you're a member of the board, you can run.
according there.
You can choose. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, let's move on to, welcome, Councilmember Banks. All right,
Sign out.
our district manager report.
I don't know which one it's. Sign out. Good evening, everyone. I am just a little under the weather, so please forgive me. First, trust all the mothers had a great, awesome Mother's Day. Those of you here with us and those that are online. And secondly, I would like to welcome all of our newly appointed members of the board. I look forward to working with you as we progress the work of the board and the community at large. Last month, I did not have attended the meeting due to a personal emergency that I had to take care of. I thank the chair for his understanding and for granting me permission to take care of a personal matter that really needed my attention. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to also state on the record that in the 20+ years that I've been serving this board in the community, last month was the 4th time that I've ever been absent from a community board meeting in 20+ years, 4 times last month. I take my job very serious, and this community really means a lot to me. So thank you for your understanding. In my absence last month, I asked the Assistant District Manager, Ms. Farah, to give an update on the work we continue to do in the board's office. She updated you on our efforts to upgrade our technology and other platforms that will allow the community to interact with the board. As you've heard the chair announce, we are experiencing some issues with our funding because of the lateness of the submission only today. And I have to speak to Ms. James after the meeting. Today, I have to send an emergency letter out to the Comptroller's Office because I was notified by Office of Management and Budget that the funding will not be available until after the 15th of June. And after the 15th of June, we will not be able to submit any contracts on behalf of this board. So I'm battling with Borough Hall, Office of Management and Budget, and today I shoot an emergency email to the Comptroller's Office because that's our money. And regardless of the lateness, we want to utilize our funding to do whatever, to fund whatever initiatives we have planned for this community. So as soon as I get a response, I will certainly update the board. Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if you know that we lost our space for the office, so we have to start that process all over again. We're looking to Office of Management and Budget and also the community. If you know the good space, 16,000 square feet, that can accommodate the board's office, all the building requirements are in place. Please reach out to the board's office and let us know. We will definitely have DCAS conduct an inspection to make a determination. It must be in District 17.
Excuse me, nobody.
Started our capital and expense budget process. Is Mr.
Nope.
McCabe here? Oh, there he is. So Mr. McCabe will share some more information with you and the importance of really getting involved in this process. It impacts our community, and I would really like the members of the community at large to get involved in the capital and expense budget process. We're also reviewing all street activity permits. If you're interested in closing street, please reach out to the SAPO, Street Activity Permit Office. You must file your application with that office, and then it's sent to the board's office and the precinct for us to review. Right now, we have 69 plus applications. You're experiencing some difficulty getting the newly hired staff into the system. Hopefully, that can be accomplished by tomorrow or Friday, and next week we'll start reviewing those applications. I have been in touch with the 6-7 precinct regarding complaints of abandoned cars and trailers that are parked around our community, and I know for a fact that they have had several operations over the past several months. This is issue that's really affecting our community. People stopping in the office, they're lodging complaints, cars are parked, abandoned vehicles there. And I'm also receiving a lot of complaints regarding yellow buses. There's some issues around these buses. I have made several calls. I was told that once they park next to the school, there's nothing you can do about it. But this is outrageous. They're even parking on the street, and they have them towed. Another issue. So if you see or you have abandoned vehicles in the lot that's affecting you, please feel free to give us a call. We're actually making a list of all the vehicles and the locations, and we'll definitely turn that information over to the 6-7 precinct to add to their whole operation. That is my report. If you have any questions, I am here to answer. Any questions? Hearing none, Mr. Chair, I yield the floor back to you, sir. Thank you.
Could you please fix your audio? Nobody could hear you. Everybody in the chat is saying that they can't understand.
Informed that I need to
Understand
move to
any-
this mic, so we'll be sharing the mic. So when you need to speak, do so. All right, next item. Oh, so before I move on, two things that we need to bring up better. Two things that we need to, are there any new members of the community board present? Please stand and be recognized. All new board members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you and welcome. Also would like to recognize, not from the speaker, but recognize our new council member, what is it, 41st? 42nd District, Christopher Banks. Please stand and be recognized. All right. There's one other thing, there's a personnel change which Chair Graham is going to be discussing. There's some level of personnel change, right, within our community board. And that will be done with my assistance with Chair Graham. We had a meeting with the union and Borough Hall last week, Monday, regarding our staff member Nadine Ryan, and there has been some change within the board with that. And so our personal chair will discuss that when she comes up, and I will assist her with some of those conversations as well. Continuing the next item on the agenda, we will now have committee reports. Again, I remind committees two things. One, if you have events coming up, to please make sure that you send something in writing so we can get the newsletter going to Chair Thomas. And two, whatever flyers or conversations you need to have also needs to go through the communications chair. One of the things that we're lacking is getting the community out there in the notices. With that being said, I bring up our budget chair, Mr. McKay, and you have something that you want to report. And then that'll be followed by the commerce chair and then education.
Thanks everybody. I'm Dan McCabe, the budget chair for the community board. Just to piggyback on what Ms. Fraser was speaking of, we're about to solicit ideas for capital budget plans and for expense projects for the next year. These are input from the community to the board, and then vetted through the various committees about projects that you need done in your neighborhood. So for instance, it's not as helpful to say, I would like safer streets. It's more useful to say, on the corner of Lennox and Lennox and Nostrand, there's a clogged drain and we need that fixed. So these are some, and it could be grander scheme things, updates to facilities, for fire department, police department, schoolhouses, parks. A good way to, if you're not familiar with the process, a good way is to just look at the current community district needs report. Is that listed on our website yet? Or do you have that on 2025?
I think we just received that. I'll check and turn it over to
Okay,
you.
so you can look. It's on the city's website. I'll make the website available. I don't have it with me now, or we'll make it available on the website. And that just goes through. And there's also, it speaks to the makeup of the neighborhood, what's changing in the neighborhood, where the community wants to go in the future, and all that needs to be updated. So anyone who's on various committees or wants to be part of these committees, that's where a lot of that conversation is. And if you could fill out these forms, that would be helpful also. And we'll continue doing that through the summer, and then it's submitted, I think, early October. So we'll be working on that now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Chair? Please, are there any questions for the budget chair?
This gets submitted, in October, but as soon as you get them, you can submit them so we can start compiling them. You can email them, you can hand deliver them at a meeting like this. So those. That the question was, how can these information support, and it's the challenge of. Also, we are having submitted virtually. Recorded for those of you who are online here. It is recorded and will be exposed to everyone the video that you're using. And obviously, WebEx on YouTube. So unfortunately, you have this type of question, and then share break. Into the group, type your questions into the chat. That's right now big.
You can understand, you have to fix your audio, nobody can hear you.
Some of the members only joined the 10. I think we can time.
There's something that these. The one. I don't know.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, the leader of so we have our second meeting. And that was scheduled. Very good. Everyone, it was scheduled for May 15th, which is this time they come in, we had a very low. Okay. So, but they kind of, and, because the numbers are low, it just did not kind of, entire on the formula. In October, they can make it.
It's so hard to understand what.
People say,
I say it's so hard to understand what.
you know,
Or the next.
In the past, you can have it, and it has been a slow way to run. And also, like a really side being here or, you know, any kind of summer program, you want to attend. So, this grant, the city for survey or donation to be from $1 up, but we also put it in that area of that. We greatly appreciate it. Also, if you need to volunteer that would be great also. Okay, that's how it works for you. Questions? Okay, turn on. I'm sorry? Yes, the board's contact information, everything is on. Okay? So that's clear. So the board is going to have a general. And this is only for board members. If you're interested in any of the positions, you have to submit, your name. There's a link where you can submit your name, because I'm taking the position, and there's also a QR code, where you can get it and fill it out on your phone. Chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. I also, like, if you also think there's someone that you would like to nominate, think it, would be a great candidate. We try to be contact. See what you'd like to talk about, not that long. And if you have anyone name, you can kind of.
Forward in the link for the meeting. I can't seem to find it.
What the provision for
And I want to go,
I'm gonna try to sign in through my name. Avoid. Okay.
Excuse me, Senator Prasad office here. Hello? Hello? We are not hearing anything or understanding you all.
Would someone please listen to Miss Davis? She is correct. We haven't been able to understand a word you've said.
They're not responding.
I think we're
We're
on
working on the
mute.
audio issue. You're not muted. We're
We
working
should
on the
all
audio
get
issue.
off. That's what should
They're
happen.
not responding, Alice.
Yeah.
It's like we're not existing.
Yes, it's purposefully done. That's what that is.
As usual, business as usual.
It's all about them and their quota.
Hold on 1 second.
Totally agree. Totally
Okay, all right.
agree. Totally agree. They do not care about the
Miss
community.
Fritz, we don't know who's here because we can't hear anything.
I've lived in this community for 62
Unmute
years.
and talk and let them hear us. Unmute and talk. Everybody should unmute and talk. This is ridiculous. We took our time out to sit and listen. You cannot hear a
I'm
word.
gonna forego my time because of the presentation.
Everybody speak up. Everybody speak up and tell them that we can't hear a word they're saying. And until that we are included.
Yes,
Disrespectful.
I'm here. I am
Because
not hearing, I'm not understanding.
everybody unmute and talk.
Those,
Someone should be monitoring the chat and realize that we are
And no
not
one is
hearing
doing that.
anything. We are
I
They
am,
don't care.
I am recording the audio so I could send this up to the city council to know
very
that
unprofessional.
nobody is listening to us.
Yeah,
They
they
do not-
probably mute the whole meeting.
don't forget that at 1 month they said that they do not, if you want to speak, you have to speak to a board member. So since we're not board members, they do not care about us. They don't care about the community. It's something put on their CV to say that they were on the community board. They do not care about the community. I'm tired. I think those who have numbers for those people who are in board members should just blow up their phones right now.
If anybody has their numbers, please put them into chat because I will definitely call every number that you give me.
It seems as though we completely muted out. And I mean, I'm recording as much as I can, so I will report it to the senator. But this is ridiculous. I am so sorry that you all are going through this, but this is unacceptable.
Very much so. Very much so. You put up other plans to come and listen to hear what is going on, to see what you can do, whatever, and then this is what you get.
Now they may be forcing us to be in person. They may be just forcing us to come in person.
So we have technology now. We have the technology to be used.
Well, listen to words carefully about when they speak. You listen to their words carefully and you take it seriously.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
Hear you.
All right, I'm trying to adjust the audio now. We're having issues. I couldn't communicate. I'm gonna lay my mic. I'm gonna lay my phone turn, and I'm gonna be monitoring the chat. Let me know if it comes through clearly. All right.
What took you so long? What's your name?
We also cannot see who is speaking from the
No name person.
yeah.
Funding from Borough Hall to hire another full-time staff for community. 4 and 17, and that's their board. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I just want to say welcome to the new members. It's great to have more hands on deck. We can use all the help we can get from all of you. So please sign up for a committee if you get the chance to. I just want to make an overdue announcement that we finally, after 2 years of pushing and pulling and fighting and letters, we finally have social media access. So we've got Facebook and we've got our X accounts back online. So if you are a chair for a committee, please reach out to the assistant district manager. She will set you up with access so that you can post about your events or what's happening in our community. Thank you. Oh, and I am still very much looking for volunteers to help me put together a community newsletter. That's another thing that I've been fighting for the past 2 years. So anyone who has any skill, writing, publishing, designing, please feel free to reach out to me. I can use the help. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm the chair of the zoning committee, and I'm very delighted to inform you that on June 27th, we will be holding a town hall meeting. So please put it on your calendar so that you can attend. Bring your friends, bring your neighbors, so we can discuss issues facing our community. As I was chairperson for the past years, unfortunately, Community Board 17 voting process was not in conformity with the city charter. We need to be advised that when you abstain from a vote, it does count. It essentially counts as a no because in order for a resolution to pass, it has to be by a majority of the votes cast. So what I would propose that we do going forward is that we amend the Community Board 17 bylaws to be consistent with the city charter, so there is no lack of clarity that we understand, because what you might have been informed about earlier is that a bylaw amendment failed, whereas in the past, for the past years, meaning there were more yes votes than no, but the folks who are, the members who abstained essentially voted no. So you want to remember, an abstention means one thing and one thing only. It means it's a no. It's not a cop-out, it's not a way out. You're voting no when you should have abstained. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just correction, an abstention actually means, according to the charter, an abstention. It means it's neither vote yes nor vote no. All right, so again, just bear that in mind when you're voting for anything, whether it's a resolution, whether it's a motion, or whether it's a bylaws amendment. The amendment, your vote is important. Bylaws committee just went, Brookdale Cab. I believe, did I see Ms. Reed? Ms. Reed, did I see you come on? Are you having a future report? And again, ladies and gentlemen, we have not gotten the chance to offer our condolences to Chair Reed. She lost her stepson and who was buried earlier, I believe on Tuesday, last week Tuesday, am I correct? Last week Tuesday, Sergeant Carl Watson. So at the end of the meeting, sometime, please offer up your condolences to her and her family in their time of loss and mourning at this time. Zoning spoke, the election committee spoke. I believe that those are all committees. Did I miss a committee? Did I miss a committee? Seeing none. Agency report. But before I do the agency report, I would like, I want to make a motion. And again, the motion is made, make a motion in a second, and it is debatable. I would like to make a motion to allow the city council member, Chris Banks, to speak before agency report. That is my motion. Is there a second? Second, is there any debate? See none. Our newly elected council member of the 42nd District, Christopher Banks.
Good night, everyone. My name is Councilman Banks, representing the 42nd Councilmatic District, which comprises of East New York, Brownsville, Canarsie, East Flatbush, and I believe a little bit of Crimson Village. I just wanted to stop by tonight and first give my congratulations to the, thank the executive board for their invitation. The city is dealing with a host of issues, and I know we've been focusing on for the last couple of months, or City of Yes, and obviously we're weighing in on that. It's obviously something that's going to be a transformative for the entire city, but at the same time, we want to make sure that whatever decision is made or whatever position is taken, that it's in the right direction to benefit our communities. And I've made a commitment to all of our boards that whichever direction the board goes, that's the direction I'm going to go. The reality is that too, we have to make sure that we protect the characters of our district. It's important that if we are engaging in any rezoning, that community involvement is key, and not that, but community engagement is accepted, it's understood that we need to make sure that the community engagement and the decisions that come from the community are binding. We are dealing with a whole host of issues, whether it's parking, infrastructure issues, you name it. So I just want to consistently hear from the community as to their position on the City of Yes. I know throughout, I represent about 4 community boards, and every board has their opinion, but it's been clear based on attending all the boards in my district that most all of the boards are against the City of Yes. And obviously, we know there has been modifications that have been made to the text number 3, the housing opportunity text. But you know, at the end of the day, I think we have to be clear that this may open up floodgates that we can't close. And I think that's important. And especially when it comes to protecting the character of our community and not allowing this to just open the floodgates. I'm very skeptical with a plan. And again, I've been briefed on the plan close to 50 times already. And there's some parts of the plan that I still don't understand. So if I don't understand it, never mind the regular lay folks who are not government officials understanding this massive plan that will possibly change the trajectory of our entire city. And again, I know throughout the 42nd Council District, there are issues, whether it's, complaints about, complaints about placement of bike lanes in our community, overdevelopment. These are key things that I think we have to pay attention to. And if we don't get a hand in this, if we don't send a message to our mayor, and particularly to the city council, which has the power to vote on this change, this zoning change. If we don't send that message that those folks who sent you, that you sent to City Hall that were supposed to represent you, it's important that we make sure that they understand what the community wants. So again, guys, I'm here listening, trying to again understand, and hopefully, I know there's supposed to be a presentation that's supposed to take place in a few, but I'm hoping, guys, that we can get to a point through this whole debate or discussion about the city of Yes, where we can get clarity and not just make modifications. But if the plan is something that the residents don't want, we should make it clear. I'm not beating around the bush. We don't need to waste taxpayers' money on something that may be detrimental to our communities. And I think that's something that I think it has to be made clear to the mayor and to the city council. So again, guys, looking forward to working with you on this most important issue. And thank you again for the opportunity.
First of all, thank you, Councilmember Banks, for your conversation. Are there any questions for the council member? I just wanted to add, because I spoke about, like I said, at the bar board. Did you have a question for the council member, or you already? Okay, you had a question for the council member. Comment. Go ahead. Come on up. Remember that. No, come on up here.
I just wanted to thank you for your comments and thank you for speaking on behalf of the community. It sounds like you are in lockstep with your community. And I just want to say, I know it's probably not appropriate to say what I'm going to say. I hope to God the city council doesn't change you. Because there is a super majority. No, but I'm very serious. There is a super majority that if you're not in lockstep with them, will and it will beat you into submission and drag you through the mud. You don't do what they want you to do. So I hope and I pray to God that you continue to be in lockstep and represent your community. Thank you.
Speaking well, I won't let anybody vote, but if they want to, they can try. But yeah, and she said it correctly. There are council that there's how can I say, there's a fraction of folks, but nevertheless, I believe there's enough middle-minded folks that can come to the middle to make sure that we protect and safeguard our city. Also, too, want to let you know that I'm also the chair for the Public Housing Committee. And I have in my particular district 12 night shift developments. So we're definitely on that issue fighting against the privatization of night shift. And yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that yes, we will definitely our no will be our no, and our yes will be our yes. But on the city of yes, again, we are in lockstep, I believe, with the community that sent me to represent them in the New York City Council.
Yeah, just wanted to add into council that the fight on rezoning is citywide, right? It's not Ward 17, it's not 18, it's not 5, it's not 13. When you sit in these meetings, you realize that, as the member said, he covers Ramses Village, which for those of you who are not familiar with where Ramses Village is, that's the eastern side of the district. So right by my level in Tilden High School on that side. So he represents that side of the district. And, it is disgusting, right? It's disgusting, appalling what has happened with the rezoning and this. So I actually want to publicly thank our chair for rezoning for her efforts in bringing awareness to what has happened to our community. Two persons needed to speak before we get to the agency. One is our first vice chair needed to speak about the issue, and then followed by our chair for rezoning. I see a hand, I'm sorry. Related to city council? All right, there are questions coming in. I know, can anybody pull up the questions? I don't see it. No, I understand. I'm sending the mic. Wait, hold on. Is this touch?
It is, but it's not working today for some people.
Oh, there we go. So thank you for, okay, so what are his specific points of confusion? So Councilmember Banks, what are your specific points of confusion? And thank you for the address. And then there's a person on the chat who. So what are your specific points of confusion in terms of the DCP and their presentation?
Once again, a lot of modifications have been made, so their presentation obviously is going to show some of the concerns that were made, obviously with the incursion of commercial spaces into the residential parts of our communities. I know in my particular district, we have 4 industrial parks, very unique, most of the council districts throughout the entire city. And that was also an issue too, with the incursion of, it was said that there was supposed to be incursion of residential of housing into the industrial parks. And I believe that there was a modification made to correct that. Also too, I have a particular concern when it comes to allowing any type of development or small development in people's backyards. That's something to me that that's going to change the face of most residential blocks throughout the entire city. And not that, but we also have to look at the fact that you're talking about the transportation. We're already losing parking spaces because of the reality bike lanes that are being placed throughout our communities. They're not being placed sensibly throughout our district. That's another issue. But I think overall, when we're talking about zoning, and obviously I understand that the rezoning rules or tools that are there now are outdated. They're saying that these rules date back to the 1960s. But I believe, again, we have to make sure that we do it the right way. And the concerns in different communities, because even in a council district, and you have different communities in that council district, and different concerns that exist. So I want to make sure, guys, it really doesn't matter what I'm thinking per se, but I want to hear what the residents are saying. And it seems like the residents who live in the communities throughout the city, we're hearing that they're afraid, they're confused about this plan. And the reality is that we understand there is a need to build housing. But some communities like the 42nd Council District, we had a major, huge housing, I would say residential or rental expansion. But at the same time, we want to make sure that the infrastructure is there to support that. And we're seeing that they're building, but the infrastructure is not there to support it. So having a rezoning plan that calls for more and allowing these massive structures to be set up in our communities, that's something that you should be afraid of. That's something that you should be concerned about. And also, too, since it doesn't, I believe, adequately address the infrastructure issues, the existing infrastructure issues, that's something we should definitely be afraid of. Because if we're talking about sewage, if we're talking about parking, if we're talking about transportation, listen, not everybody's going to ride a bike. But I'll be honest with you. I'm not everybody, I drive a hybrid and I want my hybrid, but I want a parking space when I to park my car. So we want protection of cyclists but we want to make sure that bike lanes on that end, when it comes to it being done sensibly and being placed, for sensible placement of bike lanes. So this particular plan, guys, I don't believe is best at this time for the city of New York.
Thank you. We're gonna, sure, that's fine, thank you. Okay. Let me just see. First Vice Chair. Wait, but okay, First Vice Chair, come on in. And then Zone Chair, briefly.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Ashley Cunningham, First Vice Chair. I just wanted to let every board members know to issue a save the date. We've been talking on the committee board for the last few months about doing an end of year event for the board members. So I just wanted to inform you of that date. That is June 25th. So please write that down in your calendars. Time, just save the date, 7:30 to 10 p.m. This will be an end of year mixer and just an event where we will all gather together to do a year in review and also to mix and meet each other. Because one of the problems that we have seen on the board is that, particularly for new members, we know that it is hard for new members to get to know other members on the board and also to meet the elected officials, so also our elected officials as well. We are issuing a save the date to you as well. We'll be sending out further information as the event is solidified, hopefully within the next few weeks. So again, June 25th, 7:30 to 10 p.m. The location will be announced. If there are any venues or restaurants who would like to partner with us, we are also looking for that because we would love that help as well. So thank you. Have a good night.
We have to put this in the balance.
Thank you very much. Separated and distinct from the city of Yes, the New York State Legislature passed in the budget visions for what's called basement, BASE. I would like to invite you on May 30th to the rezoning committee's meeting where that will be discussed. If any questions about it, this is what will bring basements and cellars to have more housing. Please attend the rezoning committee meeting, 7:30 on May 30th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Banks, you forgot to add, what does the new tax look like for people who build onto their houses and renters who are not paying rent? If you build a basement and they live there for a few months, knowing the laws that they don't get stuck. So what is it going to do? People who see the laws. Somebody think about dating where you come from. All right. We will move to agency report. We'll start with Lieutenant Myrtle. He has a doctor's signature, so it's hard to read it for a second. Lieutenant Myrtle and then staff. And then followed by the VPL.
You're using the 10 for yourself?
Good evening, board. Pleasure to be here. I'm the special. I'm just going to give an overview as to what's going on. As of today, we're 3% down in overall crime for 2024 within the area. We're 44% down in shooting incidents also. We're also down 7% in rapes. And we're also down 17% in grand larcenies within the 6 days. We're also 25% down. So down. Very good. Very good. Burglaries for the 20th day. There's been 27 within the last 28 days. There's breaking in vehicles. Unknown perpetrators are targeting parked vehicles, breaking windows and stealing property within them. Burglary. There's also commercial burglaries. Suspects are targeting the same car dealerships. Suspects are breaking in them and stealing money within these establishments. Also, within the 6-7 precinct, there's been 20 reports of packages stolen within the last 20 days. Perpetrators are targeting lobbies and residential buildings. Don't forget, if you have a commercial establishment or commercial location, secure the register, always keep it closed. Try to have an alarm system. Secure your roofs. Secure windows and doors, of course. We don't want any uninvited guests appearing at any time that they shouldn't be in your commercial location stores. Also, just be aware that there's a big problem with there's still a problem with package theft. Try to resort to using an Amazon locker when you have these when you have a lot of packages coming in. I'd also like to say year to date, there have been 67 firearms recovered. Year to date, 67 firearms recovered within the 6-7 precinct. Our officers are out there working very hard for them. Also, as I heard earlier today, there's been a problem with derelict vehicles. There's been 167 total abandoned derelict vehicles towed by our NCO officers within 2024. 167. Last week, on May 5th to May 10th, 50 vehicles, including multiple large trucks, box trucks, and buses were towed by our NCOs and the CRT. It was a joint operation with the DSNY. Also, for the youths, please be aware for the youths, they can come to the precinct. There's plenty of events that they can be dealing with. There's game night, that's gonna be from every Sunday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. There's also the 6-7 precinct law enforcement explorers. And there's also basketball every Saturday from 12 to 2. Pretty much it.
Hey, hi. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sergeant Raymond. Just like the lieutenant just said, a lot of these numbers that we're throwing at you are just patterns that we've been seeing along the community. So based on these patterns that we're seeing, upticks in burglary, upticks in car break-ins, upticks in what was the package thefts, right? It's more to let you guys know, hey, we're seeing a slight rise in these things, not by much, one incident as in comparison to the last year that we've had or whatever like that. But it's just this information for you to kind of use to shield yourselves, to keep an eye on your back doors, keep an eye on accesses, keep an eye on your packages that are being left at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but you don't get home until 6 o'clock in the evening. It's just so you guys can know what's going on in the neighborhood.
And also, if you know, we can spread around to other residents and other community members. You guys are the community and the eyes together. That's the only way we can exceed. And together with the police, that's just what we need. Thank you.
I just two questions. One from me. You have a question right there? Okay.
Just wondering maybe how that I know from last meeting that it's definitely a big gap. It's pretty big. Probably wasn't full, I think that would make a difference.
All right, so as far as streetlights are concerned, you would have to put in a request to DOT through the city. NYPD can supplement that through the spotlights, but those are reserved for violent crime incidences.
But also, after the meeting, after we're done, we'll come and take your information and we'll direct you properly.
So just two questions. One for me. Chair, so I mentioned earlier about the police involved shooting and second church. Can you discuss that?
Yes, that was on 5/12 at 1:20 in the morning. And it was on 5/2 and Church Avenue. Yes, it was shoot. It's a very tough situation. The basic information is, it seems like the two gentlemen there was some sort of dispute between them going on. And the man fired officers just simply tried to stop the situation. But but the gentleman did not stop. Right now, the investigation is still ongoing. I do not have all the details. It's still being investigated thoroughly.
My question is regarding this one turn road and target. There is a park building that there are 6 motorcycles parked on the sidewalk, and that's a violation of the street. Is that correct? Is there anything that can be done for that? That's a site I submitted anyway.
Yes, there's definitely something that can be done. Can we get the further information from the back? We'll properly advise. Once again, it's a pleasure to serve the community over here. Our new commanding officer is Deputy Inspector Rachel Kosaks. Not be able to come in today. She has a very important situation and meeting that's handled at this time, but she will be back for the next meeting. And once again, it's a pleasure to serve the community. Thank you. Thank you.
I just have a comment. You spoke about the bar ratings. I just want to acknowledge that you guys involved in the last
I'd like to say thank you, but this job we do by ourselves. It's from the information we receive from the community, from you, that has led us in the right direction, that will help us continue. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions for the officers? Please meet them in the back, right? So we can move on with the meeting. BPL.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. BPL is the acronym for Brooklyn Public Library. My name is Tanya Evans. I'm Flatbush Regional Director, which means that I oversee 10 locations, and Clarendon, East Flatbush, and Rugby are 3 of the 7. So I'm gonna share some insights in terms of what's going on at the library. Last month, Mayor Adams' executive budget released indicating almost $6 million in library cuts, including 16.5 that would impact Brooklyn Public Library, which would mean reduction of days that we are open to the public. Many of our branches will be reduced from 6 days to 5 days further. And you will also maybe potentially have decrease in the essential materials and programs that we offer. The budget was decided in June, so there's still time to add your report. You can visit investinlibraries.org to add your support. In the meanwhile, we do have SOL classes, and there's a lot of drop-in courses, and it's called We Speak New York. I'm going to apologize in advance. I was rushing from another meeting, so I do not have any flyers. I'm happy to send and share some with the board. But you can always visit the local branches that are nearby.
What?
But if you also look at
I put some of my concerns in the comments. I talked about let me see, did I put my
offerings, including conversation groups.
Make sure I put my voice on.
May is a lot of holidays. We have Jewish Heritage Month, Asian Pacific Islander Month. It's also Older Americans Month. So if you have time on Friday, May 17th, starting at 10 a.m., come for a free festival on Grand Army Plaza, where the dancing, artists, vendors, snacks, and giveaways. The older adults is described as the 50+ audience. I know some of you don't have your AARP card yet, but you're invited to go. All right, so what's happening locally? The Clarendon location is having a story time at Padgett Park at 10 a.m. 11 a.m. this Saturday. They're gonna do the story time by the benches, but please bring chairs or towels or blankets just in case. East Flatbush Library, I don't know what that was. Oh, that's what East Flatbush Library, that's closer to First. They have a documentary from Reading Rainbow. I don't know if any of you remember that show. There's a butterfly in the sky. That's going to be June 1st at 1 p.m. They also have a seed library that is starting, and a sound and healing meditation group starting in June. Their story play program is happening at 11 to 11:45, and they have teen tech time from 4 to 6 p.m. The Rugby Library is also coordinating to do a lot of events for the month of June as well. And Rugby Library is located on Utica and Snyder. Again, apologize in advance. I've been rushing here that I left the flyer, but I'm happy to circulate everything, and you can find it at brooklynlibrary.org. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go back to the timer because it's getting late, and the other presenters. So each presenter agency, you have 2 minutes. So please let's do that. We have Venus Scantlebury from Pacific Community Review Board.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Venus Scantlebury. I'm Brooklyn Outreach for the New York State Civilian Complaint Review Board. I don't make it to the meetings often. It's only 1 week for the whole borough, so I'm making my rounds, but I do see a couple of community partners and electeds, as well as my council member. I live in the district, so doing amazing work. Thank you. Essentially, we are a city agency that independently investigates, mediates, and administratively prosecute allegations of police misconduct. Our jurisdiction is force, abusive authority, discourtesy, and offensive language, as well as racial profiling, such as misconduct. There's many ways to file. I have some flyers in the back the most easiest way to file is you want to call our hotline at 1-800-341-2272 or file online at nyc.gov/CCRB complaint, but you can also visit your local precinct or DM us on social media. I have quick announcements. I only have 2 minutes. Back in March, our chair, Arbor Rice, and our executive director testified to City Council, strengthening our budgetary needs. Historically, we've been severely understaffed, which had the outcome of that. Some of our jurisdictions have been relinquished back to the NYPD, such as refusal to provide name and show numbers, courtesy, or maybe threats for no action. So we asked the board for 15 million, we asked the City Council for 15 million additional funding to help fulfill all hiring vacancies. And as well as we can ensure that we can investigate both cases efficiently. We appreciate the council for calling on the administration to increase our funding. And lastly, I am from outreach, so if there's any schools, community centers, any places that have people that need this information about civilian oversight and what to do if they've been a victim or experienced police conduct, please reach out to me. You can know your rights workshops that go over basic street encounters like level 1, 2, and 3, stop and frisk. I see a lot of partners. We do amazing work together. So that's what we do. My number is 917-742-4098. And my email, bear with me, my name is very long, bscantlebdury@ccrb.nyc.gov. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you very much. This announcement, there are a couple of career days going on. I know 2 schools, one in the district, looking for individuals who would like career day. If you are interested in doing a career day, one is May 23rd, one is May 29th. If you're interested in doing a career day, talk to elementary school students. You can please reach out to me. My number is 718-791-3950. Looking for a couple of people to reach to do the career day. Mics weren't working. Mr. Price, what sound you were referring to? No, it's calls. Okay, you're answering them? I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's move on. Any other, No. Is there any other agency? Any other agencies? Seeing none, let's move on to our community section. This is, yes. I see a pointing finger. I don't know where the point is. Where? That is walking. Which one? That's not an agency, that's community, that would be community, but you still come on up. Community sessions, anybody, not a board member. Anybody within the community that has any questions or concern from there. He was first, and we stood up first, and then we follow after that. Are you a new board member, sir? No, yes, no, okay, come on up. Project Echo.
My name is Charles Ricketts. I am the program manager at Project Echo. Project Echo is the 67 Precinct Clergy Council, God Squads. We are their brainchild. I see our illustrious treasurer of the board right here, Pastor Galbraith. So yes, we are the 67 Precinct Clergy Council, God Squads Cure Violence CMS site. We are an anti-gun violence organization dedicated to affecting change in our neighborhood, in this neighborhood, and also reducing gun violence in our catchment area. The catchment area, or the area that we serve, goes from East 56th Street, Linden Snyder Church Avenue, to East 45th Street, Linden Snyder Church Avenue. So community-based violence prevention, cultivating peace, resolve conflicts, We provide legal support and job training, educational resources, therapeutic services, and mentorship. Our office is located at 887 Utica Avenue between Church and Snyder. That's right to the right of the Chase Bank and to the left of Assemblywoman Monique Chandler Waterman's office. Our Instagram is Project Echo New York. That's PROJECTECHO New York. And the Echo in Project Echo stands for Empowering Communities Through Healing and Opportunities. So please do reach out. Please do not hesitate. We are here to help however we can. And thank you. Thank you.
Next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison Martinez, co-founder of Brooklyn Level Up. We're a community development corporation focused in East Flatbush, Flatbush, and Flatlands, supporting small businesses in our area, as well as building a community land trust and working on environmental justice issues. We are also a community partner to the New York City Civic Engagement Commission's People's Money Project this year. The focus is on Thayer Park. You can actually go in the back and vote for community projects that you'd like to see implemented in Brooklyn. And doing so allows the community to have a voice and to increase civic engagement. If you do it online, you can also put it in the chat later, but you can use code LEVEL, LEVEL, and that will also help get votes. Because we were a partner last year and then the community voted in East Flatbush to have WELLTH, WELLTH, a health and wellness and nutritional program in our wellness program in our community, we had funding to create a couple of projects. One upcoming event that's funded by WELLTH is the Ultimate Fitness for Life Healthy Habit Caribbean Split Workout Sessions, which will be held at the Rugby Library for the 5 Saturdays occurring in June from 10 to 11. You can come out and exercise. Then we are also, I don't know if you're aware of this, the East Flatbush itself has the 3rd highest amount of lead in its soil. This is also a community that's one of the last bastions of Black home ownership, and people take pride in growing food in their backyards especially. So because of that risk of where people tend to grow leafy greens, tends to be exactly where lead stays in the soil, we will be testing to free 150 homes in our community so we can map that impact. And in addition to that, we have an accompanied youth internship that's a paid internship so that young people in our community can get exposed to green economy jobs and learn how to tap soil in our community. Second to last, we have as I said, we are working on community land trust, which will be formalized by the end of this year. We have a survey where we're asking communities about their vision, what is important for a community, what buildings and types of sites are available, and we really need your support and for leading those surveys. Lastly, we are a member of the Flatbush African Burial Ground Coalition, which has worked to preserve the burial grounds of the Church in Bedford. And this June, from June 19th to 22nd, we have a volunteer opportunity where people in our community can be part of making history by taking part in the ground penetrating program, mapping out where exactly the remains of our collective ancestors are. And we really need people to come out and take part in that. It's another opportunity to get involved in citizen science work in our community. So if you have any questions, come to the back. You can always email info@bklplp.org.
Next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rocco Schweitzer. I'm a resident of Crown Heights. I was a community organizer in the Bronx for about a decade. So there are a lot of brick and mortar businesses to operate all around the city. You may see signs in the window, our lease wasn't renewed after 30, 40, 50 years. Our rent was hiked by double. We have to move. So for the past 3 months, I've been going to all the community boards in the city. This is my 28th. And I've been highlighting small local businesses. And what is really needed in the city of New York is actions that prevent rent hikes of 20, 30, 40%, double, triple. What is needed is something like the SBJSA, which was a bill that was crafted for 30 years and introduced to the city council committee 2018, but never received a vote on the floor. That would ensure leases of 10 years for small businesses so they can recoup their investment. So I've taken upon myself, if you know of a small business in your neighborhood or somewhere else, anywhere in the 5 boroughs, that has been there a while and their lease isn't being renewed, or the landlord is trying to hike their rent and they have to move, I would like you to please let me know. I'm forming a coalition citywide to help fight for real rent protections for small businesses. My email address is 5borough, B-O-R-O, R-E-P-H @gmail.com. That's the number 5, BORORAPH @gmail.com, because we need to save our brick and mortar businesses and finally do something to protect them, ensure they don't have to deal with these rights. That's all I got. I'm a little tired. Forgive me.
They give you. Councilor, I love your account number. That's what they give you or you ask them.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Stephanie Davia. I am the new executive director of Little BK. It is a 501 nonprofit. I just joined. First, I wanted to introduce myself, welcome all of the new members. I will be coming to these meetings as regularly as possible. I did a little bit about the organization, but because we're pressed for time, I'm going to speak very quickly, but I will leave my information. Feel free to follow up. We are 501c3. Our focus is really to bring information, resources to the community, specifically the merchants, and we want to provide the community in cleanliness and celebration. So to that, we have a few events already. You guys do not have the flyers here. I will email them. On the 19th, we are launching a weekly cleaning session. So we're going to volunteer as a community. Little BK will be choosing different parts of the community that is the dirtiest. We're going to clean up together and then we will feed you. For this month, we will also have some entertainment, but the future ones will just be food, coffee, water, and cleanliness. The 22nd, we have a workshop. It's in partnership with the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. It is going to be focusing on food-based vendors, so we'll be informing them on how to make sure they get the proper licenses, how to get the proper registration, how to apply for grants, how to qualify for grants, etc. And it will be bilingual, in English and Creole. And last for this month, although we have quite a few, but the last big thing we're doing is going to be on the 31st. We will be celebrating the Brooklyn graduates from CUNY schools that either live in the Little Haiti BK area or are Haitian descent. Or simply just wants to celebrate with them. That is, it's lovely to meet you, and I look forward to seeing you guys again.
I understand, and then I'd like to hear clearly what the
My name is Chantal Oshko. I am the outreach coordinator for East Atlas Village Inc., located at 1011 Utica Avenue, on the corner of Southern and Utica. We are a youth and community-based organization. Some of the services that we do provide are our reentry program, the parent-teacher check-in for mental health that is done via Zoom on Friday nights, game night, Saturday Academy basically we learn about financial literacy, college admission, loans, things of that nature, after-school programming, crisis management system, summer camp, food pantry. Our food pantry is every second and fourth Wednesdays of the month from 3 to 4. We also do have paid programming for some of the youth from 14 to 24, which is HPP, SYP, and Work Loan Growth. For those of you who don't know what those stand for, it's basically summer youth in different pockets of the year. Thank you.
Next.
Good evening. My name is Vanessa Clark, and I came out purposely this evening because I represent the online community that you see up there on the screen. I came out because we couldn't hear the third meeting, what was going on. As you know, knowledge is power. And the community on the screen did not hear, and they were frustrated. And it's not just that we have representatives from our council people on the screen, we have our community on there. And these community members want to know what's going on. And sometimes we just can't come to these meetings to sit in an auditorium because they have family that they have to take care of. But this is an opportunity for them to hear what's going on here in these meetings. And to be present is not always for them to come. So I took the opportunity to speak for them. So if we can do the technology a little bit better, pay attention to what's going on in the chat as our board members, it would be a pleasure for them to have that opportunity to hear what's going on and not hear something that's being gobbled under the water and feel that they're not being heard. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Washington. Real issue. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda. The time is up for community session. That item will be the roll call.
Earlier on, as I know, I was talking about $50 mentioned. Did you see anything like that?
Okay, so to say that we are not currently
clearly, I'm fine. That is why I was pregnant.
Yes, please. Okay. So we can hear recording.
Right.
So for those who didn't hear me previously, I'm going to say it one more time. Per Borough Hallswood, if you are online and I call your name, you're not physically in this room, unfortunately, I have to mark you as not my rule, it's not to be 17 Borough Hall. So I apologize. We're not present in this room. You can say present, but I think one of these, okay? So I call upon me after. Ready? Tiffany Anderson. Hassan Bakri. Ilya Belen. David Boatswain. David Boatswain. Venanzia Colon. Venanzia Colon. Asher Cunningham. Roger Daly.
Present.
Hermione Daniels. Hermione Daniels. Natasha Duncan. Natasha Duncan. Charles Galbraith. Rose Graham. Gail Granderson. Ronald Green. Michael Kell. Whitney Humphrey. Julia James. Kevin Jason. Kevin Jason. Doris Jones. Doris Jones. Nicole Julius. Osney Lewis. Tricia Lewis. Oh, you're present. Oh, okay. Edith Mark. Brandon Matthew. Brandon Matthew. Daniel McKay. Donald McLean Grant.
Donna McLean Grant. Jabril Morris. Fatima Muhammad. Fatima Muhammad.
Present, but I'm not in the room. I didn't realize that I needed to be in person.
Khadija Oluwo. Montserrat Oni. Hadithiyatu Wendrago. I'm sorry if I botched your name. I'm gonna try it again. Hadithiyatu Wendrago. Garland. Okay. I'm just gonna say that. June Prasad. Deborah Pointer. Dr. Carol Renaud. Aaron Roth. Bernadette Selby. Bernadette Selby. Kimberly Shelby.
Present.
Kimberly Shelby.
Present.
Okay, unfortunately, that's you want one line. Tyron Stearns. Tyron Stearns. Tamara Swady. Simone Sylvester. Samantha Thomas is present. Islat Tursun. Islat Tursun. Marguerite Viglianti. Mr. Westcott's asked. Mr. Westcott. And then Westcott's asked.
Ask for these things.
Melanie Wilkerson. Present. Ivor Wood. Ivor Wood. Thank you. If I did not call your name, your board member, you were present, please state your name so I can catch you in. Your board member, you did not hear your name. It's nothing.
Madam Secretary, was there any minutes sent to you? There was no sent, I didn't see the minutes was sent to you. I didn't get the minutes. Did any board member get the minutes to be approved for January, February, April? Did any board member get those minutes? So yeah, the answer is yes. Okay. As such, since the board members have received the emails, are there any corrections to the minutes for January, February, or April? Are there any corrections? January is missing. Anybody can confirm, otherwise the January, who said that January is missing? Only have April and February. Okay, is that correct? So then we'll strike January from the notes. Are there any corrections to February and April? Yes, Madam Chair Secretary. You have January right here. Can you send, are you able to send it out to the board, please? All right, send it to Sharif. And then come back to both of them that can you send it to Sharif or so she can send it out to the board. I'm sorry, say it again. I'm coming back to it. I'll come back to it later, so just any correction. Somebody speaking, I don't know who's speaking. I am, I'm gonna vote in February and April. I was gonna say, I will come back later in the meeting. So move it to June, is what you're saying. Okay, please note that in June, we have a lot of things to cover. That's why I wanted to try to get it done, especially with elections. Right, elections gonna take up a lot of time. All right, so is there readiness to vote on February and April? If you're in favor of voting in February and April, there's some debate, please say aye. Just the board members, all in favor of voting in February and April, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Okay, any abstentions? Since being that there's no correction, there are no amendments to the February and April minutes. This is, please, all in favor of accepting the minutes for February and April, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstention? Moving on. Here, liquor license, I believe you have one, Shop Capri's. I did see a text message, but I don't know how I can do that because the issue of the presentation still exists. I know that the legislators will go, but the presentation is also, I need full board support on that. So I did get the text message saying that I got acknowledged. So with that being said, liquor license, we have one application, Shop Capri's, Bar and Grill. Are they here? Tropical Bar and Grill, are you here? Tropical Bar and Grill, are you here? Going twice. See that, we'll move on. We have a presentation from DCB with Aina Gonzabel, Senior Board Planner, will present, but I believe that she's not here, or she's here, but you're gonna give way to David Weiss last, I'm assuming. Okay. Immediately following the presentation, I have a resolution regarding self-presentation. But please write down your questions. We'll only have a few minutes of debate, no more than 10 minutes of debate. And you will have 15 minutes for your presentation. 15, we're on a timer. That's more official. Mike. I'm sure those can do this. Guys are up. Yeah, let me get that. I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I'm David Weisblatt. I'm a team leader for the Southern Brooklyn Community Districts, the Brooklyn Office, Department of City Planning. My colleague, Ina Gusenthal, is going to be giving the presentation. I just want to have a quick introduction. I know there's been discussions on the city EDS already, obviously tonight and previously. Understand there's confusion and skepticism, and that's very natural. It would be weird if there wasn't skepticism. This is definitely a big change. We think that there are a lot of things in here that will be incredibly beneficial to the people of the city, including and especially the people in this room tonight who live in Community Board 17 in the district. And we're happy to talk to you more about that. But I think what's most important is that we want to hear from you, right? So the city of Yes exists now. It will be voted on. And after the city of Yes is done, however it's voted on, Community Board will still exist. The Department of City Planning will still exist. So we hope that you vote yes. We think there's a lot of benefits in here, but however you decide to vote, what we're asking is please give us as much detail as possible. That helps us help plan for the future and help accommodate the needs of this community board. So I'm going to yield this on to my colleague Ina, and she can hope to clarify some questions.
Hey, good evening, members of the board. My name is Gusenfeld. I'm here on behalf of the Department of City Planning Office, and I'm also the liaison to boards. I'd like to quickly thank Mr. Alfred and Ms. Jays for inviting us to return for this board meeting after we attended the land use committee meeting earlier this month. I understand we are very limited, so I'm just going to try to get to the heart of our proposals. Keeping in mind that you're already somewhat familiar with City of Yes and its goals. Okay. Okay, so City of Exeter Housing Opportunity or show is a citywide zoning and text amendment. It's not a map amendment, it's not actually zoning in a particular area of the city. And it's designed to encourage equitable house development over a wide geography. It's the biggest housing change our agency has ever undertaken. And it would affect the zoning in every part of our city. What we're trying to do is to enable a little more housing in every neighborhood by removing some of the barriers to growth. And during this presentation, I will outline the different proposals and explain how they apply in City 17. So I'm going to skip ahead a bit because I think you know that we are in a housing crisis, both in New York, in Brooklyn, and in our various communities. Okay, so while our housing crisis is rooted in many intertwining issues, as the city planning agency, we are going to deal specifically with zoning barriers to housing growth. What we're trying to do again is address the housing crisis by removing zoning barriers, and we've got a number of proposals
and everybody have a lot.
Okay, so in order to address housing need in every neighborhood, we're looking to combine a wide variety of strategies in order to stimulate housing production, including income restricted or affordable housing. So in low density areas, we're looking to enable what's called middle housing, low rise buildings when appropriate. For small buildings, this text amendment will allow homeowners to add accessory dwelling units or ADUs and provide flexibility to modify their buildings. In medium and high density districts, universal preference would allow bigger buildings, but specifically for the provision of affordable housing. And across the city, CHO would remove residential parking mandates and not fit the provision of parking. Because they're going to increase construction costs. All right, so this umbrella term, middle basic housing, is about modestly scaled residential buildings that are often affordable to middle income residents. And we say needed because this one common housing type is not often built. So I have two examples up here, which I have missing middle housing that was built in the first half of the 20th century. It is not really allowed today because exclusionary zoning restricts new housing in many low density areas. So we would like to introduce these types of modest buildings that tend to be more affordable than other housing types and smaller buildings that can just in the city's existing affordability programs. Here I have map showing parts of C17 where these could be fit. Our next proposal is called town center zoning. Everyone is familiar with the classic building type of small apartment buildings, 3 to 4 stories with ground floor commercial uses. They're found in low density commercial corridors across the city. But unfortunately, over the complex zoning rules, make it almost impossible to build buildings today. And so our proposal would streamline zoning rules, including restrictions on floor area and height, so that it's again possible to build 2 to 4 stories of housing above a commercial ground floor. And this image represents 1-story commercial buildings to the left that could potentially have housing above that beneficial to the community.
Just like a little bit away from you.
Sorry.
A little bit lower. Should be good. All right. Thank you.
All right. Our next proposal, transit-oriented development, would allow, again, we're talking about low-rise buildings on sites near transit that are, as stated here, over 5,000 square feet on the short end of the block or facing a street over 75 feet wide. And what we're talking about are buildings 3 to 5 stories. So by adding in such buildings in areas with good transit access, we're looking to enable that missing middle housing while also promoting environmental sustainability. That's what it means to build transit, build homes near transit. So I have here an example of what such a new building might look like in a low density district. And importantly, these new rules could also be utilized by community facilities like faith-based organizations that want to build housing, or libraries if their sites meet the criteria. At the land use committee, we spoke about our proposal, which is one of two proposals we have here to basically assist homeowners in low dense areas by relaxing certain zoning rules. So under our EDU proposal, a 1 or 2 family home would be allowed to add a small accessory dwelling unit, though that certainly would not be required. And different types of EDUs are possible, including detached, basement, and attic units. Now, adding an EDU would require compliance with the applicable building and fire code laws. And we also have additional regulations to ensure that these are built safely and restricted in areas of coastal risk, particularly for this. We're aware that many homeowners struggle to get loans for their renovations or alterations because their homes are not complying in the districts where they're based. So what we're looking to do is to help those homes get into compliance. Basically relaxing and reducing restrictions on certain things like square footage or rear yards to make sure that the zoning matches what's actually on the board. So the other way. With the remaining time, I want to get into UAP, Universal Affordability Preference, which applies to our medium and high density areas. So under this policy, new apartment buildings could be at least 20% larger, but it would only be allowed at a floor area is permanently restricted housing. This is modeled after existing rules that you may know about that allow bigger buildings for affordable senior housing in some of our neighborhoods. These rules would also ensure that zoning allows, limited height increases to make a little for those units where they're necessary. UAP is really designed to serve lower income New Yorkers in a way that previous affordable housing programs and policies have not. And one way it does is through the introduction of what's called income averaging. So with income averaging, new buildings will be able to provide units in a range of incomes that average out to the required affordability. And that affordability will be reduced, the requirement will be reduced from the current 80% under the city's existing voluntary community housing program to 60%, which opens up with income averaging to have units at 30% AMI, which would be affordable to some of the lowest income New Yorkers. And this is the most powerful affordability program that we have proposed. And if this had been in place 10 years ago, we could have created an additional 20,000 income restricted units, which would have been enough to house 50,000 workers. And that's a significant. Okay. It's also beneficial for faith-based developers looking to build affordable housing. We will have additional floor area so that they can add more units. And given that Brooklyn is known as the city of churches, this could have a significant impact for all communities. MIH is not going away, but it is also becoming more deeply affordable because council members are now being able to apply option 3, which requires the developer to set aside 20% of the housing floor area at an average of 40% AMI. Again, really trying to reach New Yorkers with the greatest housing. Okay. I know that there are a number of concerns about parking, so I have a few slides here for you kind of emphasizing what our rationale is for limiting parking mandates. So what we're doing is we are removing parking mandates, but we are not prohibiting parking. And the reason we're doing this is because parking provision has been shown to exacerbate construction costs, which means that fewer apartments are built and often the level of affordability cannot be as steep as desired. So that's an obstacle to housing growth in New York City. But parking will still be allowed, and developers will have discretion to add parking as needed or desired. So here's a quick example how showing how being exempt from parking mandates lead to additional housing production. It's just one way that zoning can remove burdens that are placed on housing developers, particularly affordable housing developers. There are additional changes to the parking rules, and I will say that this presentation has been provided to the community board, so there will be an opportunity to review these proposals in detail, and we're always happy to answer follow-up questions. So we're not changing on-street parking regulations. This is only applying to off-street accessory parking for residential and mixed-use buildings. We're not removing any parking in any buildings. Okay, there will be some additional changes to enable housing, and I'm happy to share information after this meeting about any of these proposals. We're basically looking to create different types of housing in any way we can, whether it's through conversion of underutilized commercial or community facility buildings, legalizing small and shared apartments, particularly for young people who want to live alone, and eliminating barriers to infill development. I have here a number of other changes that are proposed here, some of which would apply in C17 and some of which are not. And one of these involves creating zoning districts. Now, I want to emphasize that the creation of new zoning districts and zoning resolution does not automatically change zoning anywhere in the city. It simply opens up new possibilities for these districts to be applied through future actions. And those future actions would require public review and council member approval. Additionally, there will be small bumps or bonuses in floor area ratio for a number of existing districts, and that information can be found in our annotated text, which is posted on the website, CHO website. Okay, so to close, what we're really looking to do here is to balance development among a variety of neighborhoods in New York. Between 2010 and 2023, just about 10 community districts across the city, primarily in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens, produced more new housing than the other 49 community districts combined. So what we're trying to do is create a variety of housing types and housing development options so that every neighborhood can produce a form of housing, whether it's UAP, missing middle housing, TOD, or any kind.
Excuse me.
Here's our information. You can email us. You can go to our website to read about any of our proposals. You can also review the zoning effects if you're curious, and see images of renderings of what these future buildings might look like. And that concludes my presentation. And I, my colleague David, and Catherine are happy to answer any questions you have or follow up. Please.
Stop. No. Presentation, Rhapsody.
Yeah, because she has to put it on the camera.
Before we continue with the questions, I need to bring up the resolution that was at the Borough Hall. On one part of the presentation that says that it would not be a requirement for larger buildings to provide parking for new buildings coming up. So part of the requirements of DCP for the new buildings, that it would be kind of up to the developer to determine whether or not they're going to provide parking based on conversation in the community or whatever the case is. The resolution, actually, my resolution on the floor, and it was tabled to the next month and would be needed to be discussed here while the presentation is live. is to say that parking must be part of the conversation. That it must develop parking and these. So I must bring back that the board to Borough Hall in June, the first Tuesday. So that's, the floor is now open for anybody. And please, only 3 minutes and 1 minute to speak. If you're in favor of it, I would love for you to come up. If you're opposed to the resolution, which again is that developers producing buildings must provide parking, minimal safety, the private parking. In my purview, bike lanes, bus lanes, zip car, bike racks, all of these things have produced commercial zones, all of these different things. And so I asked the residents, and I'm asking the board to discuss this now. I am making, it was a motion at the board, at the borough. Each month, all of the board chairs meet and city council meet first Tuesday of the month unless.
I don't know. When there time
was that all buildings must provide parking. It should not be an option, but they should provide parking. It is now open to the floor for discussion. Yes. The motion was second, it was tabled, this to bring back. So I'm now bringing it back.
In recent details.
So, yes.
We're happy to answer questions.
No, I understand that part, but what I'm saying to you is that they already presented that the option will be with the developer to provide parking. This is the only part of the presentation that I'm addressing. All other questions can be asked. But this is the only part that the developer must provide parking for the buildings that they're creating. Right, so I'm just dealing with that part of the park right now, but anything else that you have to say after this resolution, you can bring it up. Okay? Any other questions, or is there debate on the floor? I heard a clapping, that means yes, but is there debate on the floor? Yeah, I know I'm gonna answer questions. Okay, so we'll move on, so I get a readiness. Any other questions? Yes, Councilmember Mealy, did you have a question?
Well, the mayor has already said, after this year, there will be no parking. No matter what we say, the developers can do whatever they want to. So, when I've been speaking to developers, I asked them, I begged them to be parking. But this new city of Yes and the mayor's proposal, they do not want parking. And the developers do not have to come to city council and put parking in. Right now, after the city of Yes is over, they do not have to come to city council. They do not have to come to the community boards. Act of right. They can do whatever they want to do. All the city of Yes is going to do is just let the community, the council members know that a project is coming in your district. And you can look, and I'm listening to this, but. Thank you. I didn't say that, so thank you. Thank you. But what's the mayor done? It takes me 15 minutes to get out of my office, out of the parking space next to my office. I begged, I pleaded, went to the speaker, went to the mayor, everyone. The developers have a right now. It's like city of Yes is already in effect. So we may have to have every community board get together and say, hell no.
Other than that, this is the done deal.
Right, and thank you, Councilmember. This is why I'm asking our community board, and I got a readiness for yes, because there are other community boards who are on board with this conversation as well, right? The point that, so he will bring it up, but there's a timeline on the chart. One second, I'm gonna hear you, I hear you, but I'm gonna. You can.
They are presented, but one take a vote because it was very personal on item.
Okay, no problem. So we did, not a problem. So I appreciate that point of order. And all in favor of mandating that the city of Yes include parking in their presentation to the developers, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstention? You're abstaining. Okay, one abstention. With that being said, are there any other questions related to the presentation? Member Oluwaseun. Deborah. Mandate the developers to include parking.
We can clarify.
Yeah, mandate, because right now the developers is like Councilmember Miller said, it's on the ground. Well, mandate them to actually do the extra plan, yes. Yes. Thank you. In the final, yes. Any other questions? Let's go with board members first. So do me a favor, instead of raising your hand, let's do one mic. I could repeat the question. Let's go middle, right there, right? And again, 10 minutes. 10 minutes and you're on the clock. Okay, it's 9:36, 10:46, we're done. We'll start with Secretary Thomas. Secretary Thomas, do me a favor, Kamara, please go to that mic. Thank you. Go, Secretary Thomas, go ahead. And again, 10 minutes.
Now, the reason that I stayed from the lawn parking is simply because in general, here's my problem. You've got more housing, more residents, but we don't have necessary amenities to support it. We don't have green spaces, we don't have more sanitation. Our sewer system is already a huge problem. We don't have more supermarket. These developers are getting taxed for this, that are being taxed on businesses and homeowners. I don't see how anybody could support this plan as it is currently laid out, because this is a recipe in for disaster. Okay, I don't see how city planning is looking at it and saying we're going to add all the funds. And by the way, we're saying if you're demonstrating rural housing, well, it's not equitable right now, because there are some communities where they're so powerful. It's not happening in communities at all. That's right. If this doesn't, we're not going to take more housing if we don't recognize. We can't support housing that we have now, and you're asking us to do more. So, respectfully, very nice presentation. It's not really nice to do personally. You guys have to do it. But I think you guys need to go back to the learn and think about how to make it, in sense, because there are a lot of holes in this plan that just happen. Thank you.
Yeah. What? What's that? Okay. One thing that you didn't address at the end is that it hasn't been equitable right now. 100% agree. You are absolutely 110% correct, and that is why this proposal is here. in town. Now, the proposal of having a little bit more housing everywhere is because, as you say, there are so many community boards and neighborhoods in the city that have not added housing, right? They haven't done their fair share. Is that a correct reflection of what you're saying? What we're trying to do here is end that situation, right? What we're trying to do here is look at all community boards that have not had a lot of housing, which is not CD 17, and say, you need to do your part, right? Community boards such as CD 17, other community boards in the borough and in the city have done their part. They're adding quite a bit of housing. And when these other boards that don't add their housing restrict themselves from doing so because of the lack of zoning, what that does is add all the pressure onto community boards like Community Board 17, right? And so this is in fact a reaction to that situation. We're looking around the city and saying, well, this is absolutely not equitable, right, to your point. And so what we're trying to do is release the pressure here on boards such as 17. And of course, if that, is not applicable or good, then we want to hear the details about that in your recommendation. But I do want to say that that is one of the main purposes of this, and that's the reason that it's citywide as opposed to targeted in CD 17 or targeted somewhere else.
Next question.
And my question is, well, you want to say, CVS, the proposal is much bigger than this housing opportunity. So it's really important that we represent the whole, be able to put social, commercial space and residential, putting a nuisance in the area where they live. So the lot that's in the, they're not selling, I mean, but they're not affecting that part of it. We're just talking about this housing opportunity that makes somehow gets it to the chaos for me. Should not be letting and take something.
Thank you. May I respond? So there's 3 text amendments that are part of the City of Yes. City of Yes for Housing Opportunity, which we just presented on, is the 3rd, right? There were 2 that came prior. First was City of Yes for carbon neutrality. That entire process, the public hearings, our outreach to community boards, the votes by the city council, that has occurred already. Right. So we're happy to talk about it, but it is in the past. That's occurred. This is the same for the City of Yes for economic opportunity, which the council member also spoke about, having commercial spaces and helping our small businesses. That as well has passed, right? So this is the 3rd, and we've done outreach to those as well. And the information for what is in that is online. We're happy to give you more information on that. But the time for public comment has passed. So we wanted to spend the limited time that we have here on what the community has the opportunity to opine on. We're happy to do so.
Thank you. Wait, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, you have to go to the, that's to the end of the line, next person.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I am a supporter of change, but not this one right now.
I'm sorry, could you state your name for the record?
Hi, I'm Jabril, I'm the new board member, Jabril Morris. I'm a supporter of change, but not this one right at the moment. My big clarifying question and my point of confusion came from the metric used to determine, I believe it was an AMI, or it was going by a family size of 3. While you guys were doing that, we were also trying to request re-legalizing smaller apartments at the same time. Therein lies my conundrum. If you're still looking at a family size of 3, but then you're making the apartment smaller, it doesn't really, I kind of fit our lives and make us really feel good. In that sense, I wouldn't want that treatment. In the sense of saying, how would they? Yeah, what's that workaround look like? To me, that workaround looks like with the AMI and just looking at it that we're not usually family size of 3s anymore. Maybe it is that one person that's trying to move out. It's working college.
I'd be happy to clarify.
Great.
Thank you for the question. So I don't know if you want me to repeat it generally, but the question was, you brought up a slide about AMIs and using a family of three as an example, but something else that we're seeking to do is to re-legalize small and shared apartments, which are illegal in many parts of the city. Yeah, I would love to do so. I don't know, if we've done at the presentation up yet, but I also want to clarify, this is not the only opportunity to speak with us and clarify questions. Please continue to, speak with Chairperson Daly, with other members of the board. We're in our office all day and we want to respond and make sure that the community is informed, whatever recommendation you do. So there's that. We used the family three just as an example on that, right? That was just an example of, here's if you are a family of three, what you qualify for in a 60% AMI building or in a 60% AMI unit. Now, I don't want to conflate that with the small shared apartments and the size of apartments necessarily that are going to be there. Legalizing small and shared apartments, and I should say re-legalizing it because they were part of New York City for many years to serve certain populations that are, now not able to be served. What we're seeking to do is allow certain folks who don't have the same needs, who don't have the needs of a family style apartment. I'm thinking of someone like, somebody fresh out of college, someone fresh out of high school. I'm thinking about me 10 years ago. I don't need a kitchen. I'm a terrible cook. I just want to have my place and get out of it. What we do,
For example, because that person is just not, that's not adding.
Single people.
That's the same thing I said in the
a small apartment.
That's like my son going to school, coming back, and I put him in the garage.
Right, we see 2, 3, 4 bedroom units being taken up by people who would love to live alone if they could. And therefore the family of 3, of 4, of 5 who would need that apartment, they don't have the opportunity because they're being taken up by people who live alone or would like to live alone. So what we're seeing is the interrelatedness of some of these proposals. We think if we legalize small and shared apartments, that will free up a lot of the family-sized units for the families that need them.
You gotta move on. Next.
Hello, community board member Tamara Slavy. For the context, I'm a local transportation user, but turning occasional dollar. However, with the current plans in terms of it doesn't lack, it lacks the value that with greater housing and affordable housing, there'll be more strain in terms of our rates for those who drive and those who do use public transportation. Because no matter and we will talk about later, the fact is there was not the inclusion in this term yet, in terms of the fact that there's a load in terms of the double parking that is a great issue of people trying to get their day jobs to take care of their families and all that stuff. And the lack of that with solutions and the lack of changing the parking requirements make sure it doesn't give me the confidence in saying, oh, the affordable housing make sure that my right is not just to live, but to thrive and to get where I need to. And for those in the meeting.
Thank you. Appreciate the question. So there's one thing, I know the parking has kind of been motioned about, but I did want to speak about that a little bit. What we anticipate, what we've seen in New York City and in several other cities that have eliminated the parking requirement is that many developers in locations that are not accessible or to certain populations that don't have it will not only continue to provide parking, but continue to provide parking that's even higher than what we require today. In fact, there's so many developments that we could bring, and we'd be happy to communicate after this, certain developments where they say, all right, your parking requirements is 20 spaces. And they say, yeah, but we're not going to be able to actually have anyone rent them unless they provide 100 spaces or 120. Be happy to bring those examples back to the community board and send them to you. That's what we've seen in several other cities, and that's what we anticipate. As for loads on infrastructure, which is also a concern that you brought up, and many others, there is a full environmental impact statement, a full environmental impact report, which goes into depth about a lot of these items, and required our communication with other agencies in the city. And that is fully available. Be happy to send that to you as well.
Thank you. Chair Sony.
Marcus.
Okay, my name is Martha Lee. I'm community board member, so before I understand that we need to change for the city needs to grow, but as council believes that once this passes, it's done. And then we won't be able to move forward what happens to our community. So the issue is not every single no, but we want to make sure that it's correct. And there are simply part of this plan is going to be probably a year, or we might be just for 1 year, if it's still going to do all the stages of life, then this doesn't work, right? Like, to your point about, developers creating parking, they won't, because the people mostly gonna fix the new buildings, who walk, and are young. My mom is to say, she has to bring in community of Asian people. We are in a two-pair zone right here. I have to do everything on our support. I have to take a bus to train, another train, and a bus to get to high school. That's a parking, like a community that needs smart. And then we tell the developer, go ahead and say, like, state they're gonna come. I can do whatever the calculus, so I'm making this to happen. So we want to make sure that we have protection and make us feel safe that this is the community that we live in for generations to come. And so it's not that we're, a bunch of indies who don't want anything to change. Like, I very much recognize the need for more housing in New York City. It's going to be a numbers game, but we're like, as people who know this community, and it's taking us down. So you have to do in areas of such as transit. What that needs to be is that you're going to provide better resources for me. Because I'm not going to move, but the new person who used to go 30 is down close to me. What's so slightly to drive? Now they're going to believe that's what happens to their needs. It's going to make it worse space for those of us who have our lives. And it's all over New York City. More conversation, because this to me means like, as a consultant, I'm a professional consultant, that's what I do. This to me means a consultant, taking it into a ton of research, I'm not taking it into your research, but the listing part is fine.
Stop that, I want you to think that.
James, chair of the zoning for housing renovation. This presentation seems to be based on equitable distribution. My very simple question to you. Over 17 years ago, Community Board 17 attempted to do what other community boards successfully did to rezone. We were not permitted, we were blocked by DCP from zoning. So we were vulnerable to developers. The question is, all the other community boards have not succeeded in down zoning. With margins of all three. Development that you're proposing here, while CP 17, where most certificates are state, how is a housing going to be developed over there? And the second issue is, in your deck, you say you want to increase transit oriented development, but you're proposing 3 and 5. Community Board 17 is very passionate about looking to save our small businesses and wants to market. So why is it that DCP wants to allow developers to come in and build 40-story buildings on North Street and dissuade the local businesses while other community boards, all you have to do is local people run stories. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe your answer.
You said building 40-story buildings?
Yes, right now, yes.
Right.
So
So,
there's the first question. How, for example, the community boards and the margins, offerings, all boards, how are they going to be impacted? Like this, are they going to have the high rises that listed against sort of the local city?
yes, thank you for the question. So what Ina presented here was a number of different proposals for high density districts and low density districts, right? I know this gets into the weeds a little bit. Many of you know the zoning district you live in, some may not, that's fine. R1 through R5 are what we call low density districts for the purposes of this presentation. And within the low density districts, we have a number of proposals, which includes the ADU, accessory dwelling unit proposal. We have proposals such as the transit oriented development proposal. We have proposals such as the town center proposal that we presented, and we'd be happy to provide other information. Those will be applicable in all low density districts, including the ones that you identified that haven't done their fair share of providing housing. We've spoken to thousands of both for-profit and nonprofit. In fact, a lot of our support comes from non-for-profit mission-driven housing developers who would love to develop housing in neighborhoods like that, then low-density districts that you identify, but simply cannot do it, right? And so where do they go? That adds pressure to places like CP 17.
Destroy those.
they've seen so much housing growth here because they are locked out of some of those other neighborhoods.
These houses are doing worse than nothing.
Hey, you now are going to have the opportunity, again, GCP doesn't build anything, we simply set the rules for what can be built, both public and private.
Bullshit.
Say, hey, this situation in which you maintain the status quo and, you know, lock your neighborhood in amber and don't allow any equitable housing growth, it's not going to fly anymore, right? Now, we have town center zoning, TOD zoning, developers are interested in adding housing in these neighborhoods, and we want to allow that. In fact, there's estimates that we have here that estimate that that roughly about half of the units that are anticipated to be built as a result of this will be accessory dwelling units, not the high rises that we tend to see, right? And so a lot of those will be in the low density districts, right? And that's something that we anticipate and that we're really excited about. We think that that can release a lot of the pressure on places like CD 17.
Okay, so.
Wow.
It's a story, thank you very much.
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
Okay, so we can find questions that are in the chat room that we have not really.
No, I'm gonna go to the chat room after
But
this.
just wanted to let it be known. But I hear everything that you guys are saying, but you guys talked about adding, creating smaller homes, but what about when things happen, like natural disaster? None of that was mentioned in anything, and if they follow the FEMA guideline, a lot of these homes will not receive any benefits. So what are you guys going to do for that? Who is supposed to take on that responsibility? So like this whole entire thing we saw, I see you guys are advocating for developers. We're not advocating anything that is beneficial for homeowners, for renters, for children, nothing from this shows anything of improvement. We have sewer systems that are messed up. And none of that is included in here. We flood. None of that is mentioned in here. Transportation now is going to be doubled. Where is this additional money that we're going to have MTA, DOT, DEP for all this additional money? People are going to be add homes, but that also means more taxes for us. Homeowners. What are your tax rates? How long are the tax rates? And then what does APB have to say in regards to them? You mentioned a whole lot of stuff for homeowners. What about the people who are disabled? It's the elevator. Who's gonna pay for that so we can maintain that license so we're not fined?
Thank you. By the response.
I'm sorry, I'm taking. Chair James, where did you go? Stepped out. I want you to come back because we didn't hear the comment. She made it, can you just make it after, a member of CM?
Well, I was actually.
I could have gone to this thing, but it wasn't possible. Man, this, city of what, yes? 1 through 5. Neighborhoods that are zoned 1 through 5. Neighborhoods that are 6 and above have done their share. Better place for it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
So I,
They are
so
setting.
there's a lot of things that were just previously brought up that we didn't talk about. We would want to talk about it. We're limited on time. We're happy to continue that conversation. We wish we had a lot more time to discuss with you. For items such as ADUs and some of the other items, I want to clarify, we are under no illusion that zoning reform solves all of our problems. It does not.
No.
Zoning reform is not going to solve everything. It's not going to make everything immediately affordable. It's not going to immediately eliminate rent burden. However, there is no pathway that we have identified, no legitimate feasible pathway to affordability in New York City without zoning reform. Right? So it's necessary, insufficient, but necessary.
Bullshit. Go.
Now, here's what we have the control over. The Department of City Planning, it's a zoning resolution. Zoning resolution does not touch that.
Ukraine or wherever you came from.
Resolution does not touch NYCHA properties. It does not touch what the AMI levels are in the New York City metropolitan region. It does not touch a lot of those things. It simply says, here's your property, here's what you're allowed to fill. The mechanisms for all that financing and things, those are handled through other agencies, which we speak to all the time. and we continue to speak to, and they're excited about this as well, right? So what we have control over is an insufficient but necessary aspect of housing affordability.
It is not. It's not. Because you are robbing people of their life savings. That is what you're doing.
I'm sorry. All right, in the interest of time, I do some Q and I do see there's some questions online, am I correct? One of the things that they did not discuss, well, not fully discussed, right, was that, there is an opportunity, David, you can talk about the dates, that there's a time, June, right, that you have to make your comments. So I would love to have some of these comments in writing, sent to the chair of the board, chair of land use, so that we can get it together. That's one. So there's a timeline. After July, right? After July, you don't respond by July, you're done. So all of these comments, well, fine, to leave it to chair of rate. Secondly, the question was brought up about utilizing the current spaces, because there are many open spaces now because they're just too damn expensive, right? So utilize, instead of building more, utilize the spaces that are underused now for
Right,
affordable housing, all of these different initials, abbreviations that they're using. That's another question that needs to be addressed in your proposal. The conversation with parking is part of the risk on your energy parking, because the rate is too damn high, as the 2004 candidate said. So a lot of people are not moving into the building, so they can't afford those parking spaces. That's why they can't afford the rent for the building, and they can't afford the rent for the parking space.
Yeah, he's said there, he's fulfilling the campaign promise to developers.
You get 1 minute. Is it a question or statement?
Replied to me. He said, yeah.
Question or statement?
He's
Great, yes. Can I give you 30 seconds for out of time? State your interest in the community.
I live here. I lived here for 13 years. I've lived here for the rest.
He has now,
I'm a renter. It's not with a lot of learning owners. And I know that comes to the ones that are challenges, but rent is 7 times faster than waiting for the city. And while we love waiting for renter, but are being pushed out. We do need more housing. And I feel like I'm listening to a lot of.
I'm good at, he said it. This from 1 through 5 have not done their fair share. Yes, said.
You said Michelle? Okay.
On every pointer, new board members.
I put it on my calendar to go to this thing tonight, and I just couldn't make it. I couldn't make it. But I wanted to be there.
So this is, yeah, you got it. What's your turn?
This is the proposal. This will get voted on by the city council. The city council has the opportunity to do one of 3 things after considering all the boards and other organizations' recommendations through the process. They can say yes to all of it. They could say no to all of it, in which case nothing will change. Or they could say, we want to modify certain parts of it, right? Eliminate this proposal, change that proposal. That would happen, and you'll talk a little bit about the timeline as well. That will happen after we gather some of this community input, which is part of this process. What we propose tonight, not in effect today, not.
All right, I'm gonna go to the, I said.
So my question is, there is one viable.
State your name.
State my name.
Yes.
Okay, my name is is there any quantifiable research that we look at? I know it's some of these thought process and some of these changes that have been proposed in terms of what that'll do to change certain neighborhoods and the different I guess resources that you can support these. In theory, but in practice, what we see, like, reduces the ability for ownership, because not a lot of residents, and actually increases revenue. We wonder look back at changes more made and see if that's.
But I've been seeing about them and, you know, saying, oh, he's there. Oh, he's confident. Oh, he sticks by his guns. He knows why he can stick by his guns because he's doing what those scumbag white people want. I don't want to.
Okay, so the question generally was, in theory, this makes sense. Has there been any actual tangible research to show that this will lower housing costs? Is that a fair summary?
That's why you can walk
Yeah,
about it.
nothing in here was done without research. Nothing in here, nothing that we do is done without any research with it.
What cities did you compare this to? You talk about other cities, they're not New York City. So
I think honest and right and see.
It's not the big case study. If you're looking at the numbers out of the straight, they had a ton of.
Doing it by the job.
The guys over one people were down.
You try to be upfront.
Very.
Yes. Stay there. Stay there.
Okay, so the question before was what kind of research was there? There was nothing but research done here. In fact, we're very careful about this. The reason that it is. That's her.
Just ask me for data points.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide data points. Your question was which city?
Wait, guys, I'm sorry. You can't answer 60 questions at one time, right? And I understand that the question comes down to data, like data of cities, data of communities, what was the comparison? So all of that research, that's what the question is about. It's all about data. Show the data that shows whether it's to another community, another city, another.
What does it do to the property values of the people?
Everybody's asking the same question.
All right, do I have the opportunity to?
Go ahead.
Better question would be which cities did we not research?
Maybe in this part of Brooklyn, a lot of that.
That's all across the world. What we found is that the cities that have the most restricted housing restrictions, both in their zoning, the highest rent burden among the populations. We've researched several cities. Austin is a really great example in which they had slight relaxations of their zoning, and rent has not only slowed in its increase, it's actually decreased, it's plummeted. That's just one example. There's several there's research done by the UCLA Housing Coalition, done by several other universities, folks who work in nonprofits who say, well, how are we going to be able to provide more housing? We have a wealth of information. We'd like to present more of it. We were limited on time, and we'll be happy to communicate that to you after the fact.
All right, wait, I'm sorry, Mr. Luo. Wait, hold on. Like I said in the executive board, I'm saying here. I see people in the back moving out. Right? I see them. I know that this is a very hot button topic. Our chair of rezoning is having a meeting on June 27th. Is that the date?
May 30th.
Wait, give me a second. I see Mr. Marguerite. I'm sorry?
I'm in here, sorry, for City of Gas.
So all the work that she did.
I understand.
Waste.
Margarita has a motion she wants to make, so we need to take a vote tonight before we believe as to whether or not they're going to accept it. Or
Okay, give me a second. That's not was the question. I got you, but that's not my question. Okay? I hear you. I just asked, when is the town hall meeting?
June 27th.
Thank you. All right. Two things. One, questions can be emailed to the chair of the board, chair of land use, chair of rezoning. I have to be cognizant of time, and I have to respect everyone's time. Though this is a hot button topic, I know it is. But I'm in a quiet time. What do? Just open the floor till 11 o'clock? Open the floor till 11 o'clock? Or, I understand, but there are other people with questions, Chair James. Right, I understand that. So I have to, I understand that. There are people online who didn't ask, had a few questions as well, which I agreed that I was gonna take a couple of questions from them. It's only two I'm gonna take, it's only two. Then I'm gonna come to member Biante, and then we'll close conversation. Any other questions, please either speak to any of the presenters in the back, shoot an email that can be addressed, and then we get an answer and return. Okay, in the essence of time. I would appreciate that. So 2 members on the chat, if not, going once. The chat is just run so that I can have you. What type of what type of research was done? We kind of answer that. Valerie, I appreciate the energy, but I like to know what you're saying.
Hi, can you hear me?
They have already been on my block scouting out the houses. We should have been standing against that for the last 30 years. I don't see any questions on
It's in one of the SRO. Okay, I got it. When conversions of office buildings include to SROs, since many such buildings have plumbing incompatibility with traditional residences.
So would Guy,
Yeah. So the question, to my understanding, was there is a proposal here to allow additional conversion of non-residential uses that are now vacant, many of them, to residential uses. The answer is yes, that will be permitted. That's something we're very excited about. The question that we had here was, would it be, ma'am, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand the question correctly. So the question was, for conversions of non-residential uses to residential uses, would they be permitted to be converted to small and shared apartments, SROs, et
In
cetera?
office buildings.
If
When
all,
conversions of office buildings include to SROs.
Around here, I'm talking about around here.
right. So the question is, would office buildings that do convert to residential, would they be permitted to SROs or things like that because they have plumbing and compatibility issues to other, more traditional housing units? The answer is yes. That would be permitted, and partially for that reason.
Khadijah, you want to ask a question? No, okay, got you. Is there another questions online? That's what you're asking about, right? I'm only allowing 2 questions. So Valerie, you got the floor. You're the last
Hi,
question.
yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, hi. So I want to ask this gentleman about the property values of these houses. I heard him say that the areas that are zoned 1 through 5 are in the bullseye for this city of yes. These are some of the most beautiful neighborhoods in the city. Staten Island, parts of Brooklyn, parts of Queens, and here parts of Brooklyn and parts of Queens. Yes, I don't know so much about the Bronx. Some of the most beautiful.
So Valerie's concern is that the areas that are 1 through 5 are some of our precious neighborhoods. And to make those changes would cause a problem. What's your answer to that?
Yes. And hold on. It would totally devastate these neighborhoods, totally deprive these people of the ability to sell their properties for a profit. A lot of these houses are owned by people who spent their hard-earned money to buy these houses. And now they're going to be, what's the property value going to be like?
And what's the property value going to be like? Go ahead.
For these houses?
So again, we only have the jurisdiction over the zoning resolution. The chances that part of it that will happen, as I'm sure that's not our area of expertise. We're happy to communicate after this fact, right? We know that the vote is coming up soon and that you have a time limit to get your resolutions in. We want to have more opportunity to speak with you and hear from you than just in this meeting. We want that. What's even more important, we think that it would be great if this is voted yes on, but if you vote no, so be it. What we want is to hear from you. Right? This is great. What we want is to hear more from you than what is in this limited time period. And so the question was about this
Preservation of beauty.
And wealth.
Taxes.
Well, pretty tax speak to. So when it comes to our small R1 through R5 zoning districts, our low density districts, what we brought up are a couple of images and examples of what would be permitted in those districts. What we wanted to make sure is that there are no massive towers in any of those districts. That doesn't make sense. I think we'd all agree. What we
Either is putting a shed in the back.
A lot of buildings that have existed in a lot of these districts for many, 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 many years, far before the current zoning resolution came into effect, that currently could not be built today. I would venture to guess that a lot of people in this room even live in or really admire so many buildings in their neighborhood not be built today, right? What I think there's this conception that the zoning resolution preserve a character. What we're actually argue is there's so many pre-existing buildings before this current zoning resolution could not replicate today. Some of the most beautiful and beloved buildings that we see in low density districts, 3 stories, maybe 4 stories,
Doesn't mean they
that
should be
could
torn
not
down,
actually
mister.
be built today. And so what we want to do is reintroduce some of those so that the neighborhood that existed far before these zoning resolutions came into effect could actually be preserved adequately.
Thank you. Member Viante? No, what I'm send your comments. They're not coming back in. There's, they'll talk about it, but as opposed to them coming to the board, they're not coming back to the board. So if you want to make a motion while they're there.
We can come back many times you want, whatever you want.
No, next year, use
All right, come forward, Chair Frey.
these buildings that we have in 1 through 5.
Thank you, everybody.
Just smarter parts in Staten Island and Brooklyn and.
Just wanted to just follow up. So on our we had last month, the chair of rezoning and ourselves, we initiated this conversation at May 2nd.
Even that one where you saw, you said when we were passing Avenue I think, and 56, and you were saying that guy, you were standing outside. That house, which was a standalone, I would imagine a house like that.
Environmental impact study, along with the annotated text and zone amendments. We invited them to this meeting today to have the initial presentation. We will have a follow-up conversation at our June 6th meeting, land use, to dive deeper into the presentation now that we've lived with it. And the goal is at our June meeting to have our comments and concerns via the survey, which we utilized during the economic EO presentation, and gather that to form our holistic comments and concerns to give our response to the Department of City Planning. That's the plan we have in place. 4 meetings. Started with land use. This is the meeting for the general, a deeper conversation on June 6th, and a finalized conclusion or collaborative discussion, finalizing our comments and concerns at the June general board meeting. And that's when we'll vote, ultimately. It's a lot, but we have to try to consolidate it, but we also don't want to dampen or shorten the conversation, which happened here. To have that long that everybody attend, June 6th at 7:30. If you have any, or if you're not familiar, you'll get the link from Notion, ADM, or Sharif. We'll send the link out, or you'll find me at some point in the room, and I'll give you any information you need to make sure that you get there. Are we clear? Any questions? We can't really, we will follow up. No, we will. We don't.
I know I'm, yeah. I know I'm not working.
They hear that? I need to catch this in the back.
Just go ahead.
Good.
So after
Correct.
when we had that, when I was in writing, we just started the written conversation.
Much like we did in the past, we'll develop or developing the survey that will go out to the general board prior to the June meeting, right? But we'll be finalizing the details of those questions and how they're asked at the June 6th meeting, once we have the deeper conversation. Any other questions? I'm gonna allow the DCP team to close out, finalize their presentation.
So again, I want to reiterate, we've got time, we've got a little bit of time. We are at our desks all day long answering questions, right? This is one opportunity to answer, it's one of many, right? So please, if you have additional questions, forward them to your chair people, forward them to us, forward it to the email address we have. Hear more from you, and we can continue these conversations conversation, clarification questions, we have limited time. Please, please, please let us know. And I'll stick around after the meeting to discuss for folks who want to.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We have to move on to the next item on the agenda. And I lost my computer with him. So,
Ron,
what's the next item? I think legislative report.
could not be built today because what? Why, I mean, I know
Report,
Europe. I know I'm not.
Councilmember Darlene Neely.
One thing we all have to know.
Councilmember. What happens is that it's harder to hear you from. I hear you.
Good evening, I just want. What? This is an 18-part project. And I hear different parts, even when city council give us a debriefing on City of Yes, it's totally different. So I'm just asking the community to get whatever parts you really do not like and just let. If some of the project you like, say this is okay, and that is not. One thing we have changed from the community. If you want to have your own business in your house, some people want that. We can't deny that. Instead of having 3 people and the owner in the building, who have mandated now. Enough people said, no, they don't want so many transit people coming in and out of. So now, the proposal, only one person will be able to work in a housing development or your private house. So that's the start. It'll change if you let them know in advance. And I just ask you to know, park, I want you to ride the bikes. They want you walking. So parking in my district, to me, that's a decision against seniors. They are taking senior parking and building housing on it. To be vigilant as a body and as a community. This could be good, some. None of us, right? We knew we progressive, but some things just do not make. Remember, quality of life is sunlight. They have a right to go up to 10 to 20 stories. They just letting us know, and then whatever they want to do. So please think about quality of life issues. But when these big story buildings come up, your plants will not get any sun. It's so much. So I just hope you start advocating to your colleagues, because it will come. City council members will vote on it. City planning already passed. Y'all know that, right? And I looked at their presentation. They said it's going to the city planning. City planning has already voted on it. Period. So now it's gonna come to city council. And you have to see how your elected official vote. And I'm councilwoman, man, I'm in trouble. All right. Commissioner Dan Garodny called, I had a meeting. I saw it online. They voted on it already. City of Yes, city planning has already voted on it. So piece of the project may, but I guarantee you, because I see your proposal is totally different what city council just. And the speaker and every HPD was there, and y'all telling me something different here. So what I ask you to do, maybe go to community board and see what proposal they are doing over there. And judge for yourself, period. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Clarify.
So I appreciate this. One thing very quickly on procedure. The City Planning Commission had a review session that was not a public hearing. Where we introduced many items of the proposal. The City Planning Commission did not vote on the proposal. The City Planning Commission has not yet voted on the proposal. We will do so at a public hearing in July. We want to get all of your comments in over the next few months before the City Planning Commission officially votes. There was a presentation, council member. That presentation was to kick off the public review process before a vote comes back in July. Thank you.
Legislative continues. We'll deal with Assembly Member Monique Chan.
Next topic is city council. Y'all know that, right? The city's planning on ready for, might have to go up and answer. The city planning has not yet voted on it. I repeat.
Good night, everybody. I don't want to start any
Bad business.
rioting side here, so quickly, I just needed to just say this real quickly. This Saturday, the Assembly member continues our community outreach engagement. And she's having a Vital Voice meeting this Saturday at Tilden High School. And we're talking about police and community relations, police and relations. And the speaker will be the deputy.
I'm not gonna say
correctly, I think spell it right, sitting there.
You know, need to be something that is.
NYPD Deputy First Commissioner, Tanya Kinsale, and
He has to go see him back.
based on the amount of duties or, activity that we have in the recently. I'd like for you guys to come out and be a part of that discussion. So it is this Saturday, May 18th, Tilden High School. Much more could have been said, but our office at 3 Utica Avenue, telephone number 718-385-3336. Any information you need, please reach out to us. Thank you. Good night.
All right. I'm gonna go out of order, not out of order, but out of order as in elected. I see Ayana.
This is in the back.
Ayana, you see-
Right. So I was like, I don't know.
Ayana.
Because I went to the store and.
All right, thank you. And the date for Saturday is May 18th, right? That. Thank you. All right. Councilmember Darlene Neely. Portia.
Portia who? I'm not just Portia.
Oh, of Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much.
All right. Portia, Zelma Myers office.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
In the interest of time, I would like that we start on time, so that we don't have the interest of time. I don't want to come here at 7:00 and then don't start until. I got a baby that I want to go home to, and it's 10:30 and I'm not home yet. So can we please start this meeting on time? That our families see us at the end of the day. I'm sure you would agree. Great. So we're having our immigration resource fair this Saturday. Downstate in the FAB, starting at noon from 12 to 5. There's some flyers in the back. If you know anyone who needs help, who needs the entire community, even if you are not an immigrant, please come out so that you can get those resources. There'll be fresh produce bags, ways, and we will have their public library downstate. Rethink Food, New York Life, a lot of different organizations that are going to be there to help our immigrant migrant population. So if you know anyone in need, please come out here this Saturday at SUNY Downstate to 5. And we're partnering with Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez's office. You guys know our 57 Nostrand Avenue. Our office is open from Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. by appointment. So please give the office a call or email us to make an appointment to come and talk to us about any issues you may be having. We have Cuff in our office every Wednesday from 11 to 5, assisting with Housing Connect applications. And every last Wednesday of the month, our office is open until 8 p.m. Our office is also open on Fridays from 10 to 3. I forgot to say that. So if you guys have any questions for me, I'm not going to be here. I'm leaving. I'm going to give you my number. You guys can call. It's 718-4700. And my email is P like Portia Edwards @nysenate.gov. Good night.
All right, thank you very much. Bianca Stevenson, the Borough President's Office.
Good night, everyone. Bianca Stevenson, Borough President's Office. Just wanted to welcome all our new board members. It's really exciting to see the new board. Councilmember Bailey, thank you so much. Just to let you know, on June 24th, CP Reynoso is hosting a reception, swearing, and orientation for all newly reappointed board members. That will be at Borough Hall. It is mandatory for the new come. So we're looking forward to welcoming you at Borough Hall. There is also a virtual link. Everyone else can join in and look at via WebEx. The borough president has released he has an applications are open for the pre-K to 12 graduation award that opened in April. There are 3 award categories that they can be nominated for: the Merit Award, the Perseverance Award, the Brooklyn for All Award. Ms. Graham. Brooklyn-based public-private or charter schools may nominate up to 1 graduating student per category. You can contact us section of our website, and the information will be there. Nominations close. And our president, in conjunction with Councilmember Nasir, has a Edison Customer Assistance Day. This is May 22nd from 1 to 6 p.m. And that would be Member Nasir's office at 5827 Flatlands Avenue. So I'm going to stop there because I'm racing, I'm tripping all. I know everyone wants to go home. So thank you. Have a good night and see you in June.
Okay, see somebody come. Okay, I have this. Dan is not here, right? Jeffrey left. All right, with that being said, members, did I miss any official? To the hand wave. What's your name? Sydney.
Renwick. Good evening, everybody. I'll make this very, very quick. So it is a pleasure to see you all and be here. In recognition of Mother's Day, we just had our Women of Distinction event, which was very nice, and honored SUNY Downstate's very own Dr. Renita Abrams-Nichols. As well, I'm just going to move right along to the events that we're hosting. So we are hosting a partnership with Crown Heights, a local metro, May 29th from 10 to 3. We are also hosting a shredding event this Saturday at the Crown Heights Apartments, 1055 St. John's Place, also with the local development corp of Crown Heights. We will be hosting our Housing Mondays regularly, so if you have any housing issues or housing needs, please come by the office from 10 to 3. Our office is located at 249 Empire Boulevard, Brooklyn, New York, 11225. In addition, we are hosting 2 events that we're sponsoring: our Father's Day event on Saturday, June 15th, at Historic Leffers House, as well as our annual Bubbles and Ices Day taking place on June 8th at 12 p.m. I request to have us speak earlier at the community section that we would.
Thing I could say, Sydney, is that you can't speak at the community session because according to the bylaws, And the bylaws would have to change and the agenda would have to change, so, all right? Special report, board members. I know they're represented now, but we can't hear, so that's a problem. All right, I could try to hear, but as you did before with the other person, we can't hear, so who's that? I see Monica McCain Brown. Who else? I see Monica McCain Brown, but you're not, are you representing an elected official? Just say, shake your head, yes or no. Shake your head, yes or no. You represent an elected official, shake your head, yes or no. Yes. Okay, so. Ms. McCain Brown, go ahead. Ms. McCain Brown, you have yes. Oh. I want to see, I see Burlat Antoine and I see. Go ahead, I'm sorry, what's the name you see? Karen Davis? Ms. Davis? Go ahead, speak.
Hi, good day. My name is Karen Davis and I'm representing Senator Roxanne Prasad. And I know it's late, so I'm just gonna tell you about some of our events coming up. We are having a electronic waste disposal on this Friday at between 4 and 5. It's a continuation of her waste disposal that happened today with her shredding event. And she's also having her mobile office. I hope I'm not talking too fast. I'm sorry if I am. Her mobile office is going to be on Wednesday, May 22nd, between 3 to 5 p.m. on Lindell Boulevard, 2237, for any constituents to come with any problems they may have. And we are pushing right now also for a mammogram, free mammogram, on the 27th of June. Because it's free and we have to do registration, we are asking constituents to try to register early so we can put them in. And it's from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for ages between 40 to 79. There's no cost for the mammogram. You just cannot have had a mammogram in the past 12 months. Again, you can call the office. The office number is 718-649-7653 with any questions. And like I said, we're having a mobile office on Wednesday, May 22nd. Thank you very much for giving me the time. Have a good night.
Thank you. Is there any other representative? Okay. Yes, no, I hear mics going. Valerie Booth, are you a representative of someone? No, okay. Spoke earlier. All right. Special report board members. All right, just one. The Youth and Education Committee is having their awards. So if you have a school, a child who goes attend the school, ask the principal to send out nominations to the community board. And we'll look into our Chair Grandison will ensure that that school gets the award. Business, old business, new business. As Chair Oni, please note that any questions that relate to the DCP presentation to myself, which is CB17 chairperson @gmail.com. You can send it to svb.nyc.gov and you can send it to cb17land@gmail.com. So you have two Gmail accounts, CB17 Land Use and CB7. Or to Sharif Frazier at sfrazier@cb.ny or RO Daily at cb.nyc.gov. The only, oh, you moved to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second? Second by in favor of adjournment, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. All. The meeting is now adjourned. It is now 10:38.
To come up with something that go along with these
Yeah. It's supposed to be like, Keep up this nice, it's long because questions like DCP and all that stuff.